that much different, does it really, to a stage rally?
No, it's very close to a stage rally, isn't it? It's just the average speed. I think. Average speed on a stage rally is what, 60?
75.
75. The average speed that is required for a stage rally is 30 miles an hour. Targa, sorry. It's 30 miles an hour. So that's why you see the chicanes there, is just to slow you down and achieve that. But you do go into third, fourth gear, you pick up a lot of speed on the limits.
So I'd say one of the biggest differences is sometimes the terrain that you're driving on. So auto solo, you're mainly stuck to tarmac, whereas Targas can be on a range of terrain. So you can have loose gravel, you can be in a forest, through muddy tracks. So there's a real range, and that's again like the next step up to teach you car control, but also then getting those speeds up, and it is a perfect training ground for if you want to progress onto stage rallies, which we'll talk about later. As well as being on different terrain and going a little bit faster, you also have a navigator. So because the routes are slightly longer than an auto solo, it's not something that you can memorise. Well, some people can. But you have a navigator with you in the car who will read a map, but the difference is to a stage rally, you get given a map that's all marked up and it tells you exactly where to go. You can call out the lettering on the cones just like an auto solo, calling left and right of the cone as well. It's a great sociable event again, like auto solos are, competitive, and this is where your car comes into it a little bit more. So the type of car you have and the type of power, and for example, four-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive might be more suitable for some events compared to others. So this is where the car spec has slightly different standards. Also some events, like the Kent Forestry Targa, which was an event I competed in last year, requires a rear roll cage, and that's just there for safety precautions. So, but most Targa rallies are still low entry fee compared to a track day. So you're looking between, like, probably lowest fees about £50 per event, and that's again a whole day of really full on driving. You can also double enter. So I will drive with my dad, he'll navigate for me, and then we'll swap over, so we'll both get to have a full day of motorsport. And when you're double driving, obviously you've got to go around twice in the time that other people go around once, so it is really, really full on. But a great way to help you learn the test as well as a bit of a top tip, because you get to see it twice.
And with this, again, like the other two disciplines we've spoken about, all you need is your road car, a RS Hubman licence, which is free, and your you join a local motorsport club. So again, it's so accessible, and it's almost like combining the last two disciplines we've been speaking about in terms of speed and car control.
Yeah, in our area we don't, the land that we use doesn't require roll cage or anything like that. Our events are super cheap. All you need for our events is a yellow tape around the negative and we turn on the battery. For all these, nothing else. You don't need helmets, you don't need fireproofs, nothing. And we talk a lot about stage rally. People have been, I've talked to a few of you that have been to Snetterton and watched it and enjoyed it. Stage rallies are fast, but they are not nowhere near as intense as this, right? Driving and navigating in a Targa, it's like chicane after chicane or 90 after 90. So a stage rally, you've got a lot more time to think about what you're doing. In a Targa, is extremely intense, so it's brilliant. You do finish a test out of breath if you're driving, or if you're navigating and a bit scared with the standards of your driving.
Is that your roading car?
No, you don't need to drive. You can trailer the car down there. It doesn't need. It does.
It does.
But you don't have to have tax.
It's classified as a road rally, so it does have to be a road
Sorry,
car.
yeah, you do.
I think the difference is you can trailer it there though. So in auto solo you can drive and you're not meant to trailer it there because it's meant to be taxed, MOT'd. Whereas Targa you can trailer the car there if it's not your.
You will still need an MOT.
But you still need to tax it.
Tax you don't need the MOT.
Yeah, I think that's most of the stuff on there we've covered. Yeah, so you can navigate in a Targa rally from the age of 12 as a passenger and drive from the age of 16. And again, it's a great event to learn car control because you are going that bit faster and you've got to think a bit more about your braking and stopping distances, how you approach like a hairpin around a cone might be slightly different, how you do it in an auto solo, but you're building on all of the skills that you've developed. I would definitely recommend doing an auto solo before a Targa. I'd say I did quite a few auto solos before attempting a Targa, and I think it gives you a really strong basis to start with.
On an auto solo, you have the chance of walking the test before you go out. On a Targa, you don't. The tests are much longer, like 4 or 5 minutes long. That's why you need your navigator. So 2 things that are brilliant about that. One is teamwork. It's not just the driver or just the navigator. It's teamwork. You have to listen to each other. And 2, since you haven't been around the test, you go like 90 corners, not knowing what's on the other side. So you get there, it's dirty, you go sideways, and you have to deal with it, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything else on Tigers? Cool. Am I talking about Tigers?
Yeah.
Okay. 12-car rallies and road rallying. We've been talking about events that you are trying to go fast, beat the clock, right? This is navigational. You want to be at a certain point on the route at a certain time. This is all about the navigator getting the route right and getting there at the right time. So it's not so much about the driving, more about the navigator. 12 cars working, only 12 cars are allowed. Events usually start at early evening. You, as a novice, you are given a marked map. So the map will be already, the route will already be marked on it. So your navigator just needs to tell you which junctions you take. This is public road driving, right? So you're not supposed to go above speed limit. If you stick to the speed limit and don't get anything wrong, you will be on the right point at the right time. If your navigator doesn't get lost or the driver doesn't mess up. So you're given a map marked and you just follow that route. Events usually run up to about 10 o'clock at night. It's a really interesting sort of event. Again, no safety equipment required, public road driving. You wouldn't want to have a helmet or anything like that. The vehicles, you're not allowed to have a few things on cars like LED lights. You have to have spots with halogen and that sort of stuff. But the regulations are reasonably strict, but that's something that we can talk later if you want to get involved in this.
Yeah. So it's a real team event, really, this one.
It is much more of a team event. Now, when you progress and you get into being away from an novice, getting more of an expert, then the maps are not marked. You have to bring your own OS map, and what you're going to get is clues. So the clues will tell you what to look for on the map and plot it. And as you go along, you get new clues, and your navigator has to plot it as you're driving. So the navigator needs to tell you where you need to go next, plus plot for the next section. It is a skill, it is brilliant. So there's a fair few of people here that I recognise that are experts on this.
The clues could be something like a spot height on a map, or different icons which appear on an OS map. So you could get a string of those, and you have to then plot a route which then goes through the boxes to get you from point A to point B in the shortest distance.
Yeah, perhaps something for people who might be a fan of puzzles and all that sort of thing. It really is all
Yeah.
about problem solving, because if you, you're directing your driver and you don't know where you're going, before you know it, they've gone so far out of the route, it's better to just be slower, prepare yourself, know where you're going, and then do your driving.
Yeah, and if you get too early to a control point or too late, you get penalised. So you want to really control your speed and be there on time. Cost is super low, it's like £10–15 entry fees. People usually take out insurances specifically for that event, which is about £17–20. So you are covered to be driving, to be competing on public road, again, within speed limit. Ages. Do you guys remember ages? 12 to start navigating and to compete.
Yeah, so to drive, you'd obviously have to pass your driving licence because it's on the road. And just to note, with 12 cars and road rallying, we do run a lot of beginners events. So we've got a webinar coming up. We've got various clubs that all run a specific event tailored for newcomers into the sport. So definitely look out for those if you want a no pressure environment to learn what to do, experience it without actually doing a real competitive event.
They do also run events which is just to show you or teach you how to block maps. So it's not an event that you're going to get in the car and go out. It's a social event, bring a map, and they will teach you how the whole thing works.
There's also tabletops as well. So a tabletop rally, you do it literally on your tabletop at home. You get some set of clues through and basically do the rally on your dining table as such. So, and then submit the results through, and there's a bit of a series there as well. We were running through COVID when you couldn't go out and do stuff, and it still continued on.
I've got a map here which has still got the route on from last Friday's 12-car rally. If anybody wants to look at that, how the route is marked onto the map.
So we've got tables with information specific on each discipline later, and we're going to have people at those who can talk to you about it and give you more information. So I guess Pete, you've been selected now to be on the 12-car table.
And that runs to all these disciplines, so don't worry if you've got more questions or just given a very brief overview. You can hear far more in more detail later.
Yeah. Right, Tiger Rallies and the Preston Rally. So we've been leading into this sort of rally and stage rallies. So you start in Auto Solo, then you go into Tiger Rallies if you want to, and then it becomes the Preston. The Preston is amazing. It's a rally that happens once a year. It runs once a year in December. It's an overnight rally, about 150 miles, as if it was a gigantic Tiger Rally. So you've got tests at Thetford Forest, tests at farmers' fields. I think last year we've done 8 sections. Is that right? Who was organising Preston? 8 sections? More. Anyway, 150 miles of driving like a lunatic. This is a speed as well. This is not navigational. Although linking the sections between farmers' fields and forest, you have to drive on public roads, and that is a bit of a navigational side of it. You get to the venue, you are given a road book with maps and all the information that you need there, and then you set off about 10 o'clock at night, and you finish at about 6 o'clock in the morning to a nice breakfast. That's it. These sorts of rally, you do need a bit more preparation. The Preston Rally is known to be extremely harsh, and that's why it attracts a lot of people. They usually run at full entry capacity. So you can see the MX-5 there. That car was raised. I bought it fully prepared. That car had about 4 Prestons by the time I bought it. Washers everywhere to keep everything clean. So it does require a bit more preparation. There's a lot of people here that recognize that do the Preston every year, and they will be able to tell you a lot more into what is required if you want to get involved in this. Strongly suggest you do a few Tigers before you tackle the Preston. But it is insane. When I finished this year in the MX-5, I was so knackered I couldn't get out of the car. So you see how punishing it is, but it's absolutely amazing.
And there's a massive amount of camaraderie behind the Preston Rally. Whether you're a driver, navigator, you're out marshalling, we were out marshalling all night, freezing cold in the Thetford Forest. And it's just great fun. Whether you're driving, being out at that time of night, it's something really special that you don't get to do that often. You don't get access to those sorts of roads at night, and to be able to participate and drive at the speed, because some of the sections they do, they are still trying.
Yeah, you do reach quite high speeds going through the forest. So you've got this beautiful Thetford Forest, and you're driving down with your lights overnight. It's just it's just absolutely amazing. Who would have expected events like this to run in this country? Who would have thought? I guess a lot of you that have never heard of what we do and what events are run, you are probably going, really? These exist?
You have to go to Wales and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and higher level, right? Not stuff that you would be able to do with minimum safety equipment or no safety equipment, right? The speeds are kept to a level that allows you to do that.
So what is the entry fee for the Preston?
I think last year was 175, can someone correct me? Yeah, £175 for a whole night racing. How many marshals did you guys have last one?
200.
200 volunteers out there watching out, make sure that everyone is safe and making sure that you do the right thing as well, not sneaking a corner.
And you can see our reward on the right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the Preston Rally is, I think, one of the best rally. Well, actually, is the, I guess, the roughest road rally you can do in the UK, and it's certainly very, very interesting. Yeah, it is. I don't think there's anything else that is comparable to the Preston. And we are super lucky. This is on our doorstep.
Definitely. So now moving on to special stage rallying. And the photo and video you'll see here is of the Corbo Seats Rally. Some of you may have been to see it. This was the first ever closed roads rally to run in the UK. So we were very, very lucky in this region. This takes place in the Clacton and Tender and surrounding areas, so just over the sort of Essex border. And this is full special stage rallying, so it was around with the British Rally Championship last year. Laura and I did it together last year. And this is where the speed is different. So like Brian said, the average speed here is 75 miles an hour. These cars are going for it. You are really trying to complete the stage as quickly as possible. Now where it differs, so this is very much a team event. Your driver is seeking to complete the stages in the fastest time possible. Now the navigator will be reading something called pace notes. You can have a look at some over there. So that is essentially you're almost reading codes, which then gives the driver an idea of the distance, the corners, what's coming up next. So it'll be something like 40, 5 left, hairpin right, and you're reading all this out whilst the car's going flat out, head up and down, head up and down. And it's really, really important to work well as a team, because this is where there is that little bit of danger involved. If you give a wrong corner, who knows where you could be going? You could be going off. So it's really important that the driver and co-driver work together in this in order to be able to complete the stages in the fastest time possible. Now with special stage rallying, this is where you do need that extra bit of equipment. So Vinny, do you want to give us a talk about the car and what you need?
Yeah, so up to now we've been talking about motorsport that you can do with your road car, or if you go into Tigers and Preston Rally with a little bit of modification, nothing major. Now this is a big step up in terms of vehicle required, safety equipment and cost, unfortunately. So these events are much more expensive than anything else that we talked about. So the car in specific, you will need all the regular safety equipment required by Motorsport UK. Roll cage, fire extinguishers, what else? Helmet, fireproof.
Yeah, hands device.
Hands device, a different level of license, which does require you to go through a test. So it's a bit more. Circuit-based stage rally is still quite simple and easy for the navigator and driver. This is a step up from what we're going to talk next. Closed roads does require a lot of skill and a lot of preparation.
Definitely. And in terms of the event itself, so the Corbo Rally last year for the first time was a 2-day event. So it first ran in 2019. Last year we ran Saturday night stages on the seafront at Clacton, as well as the full day on the Sunday. I think we did 3 loops of 5 stages. But for a driver and a co-driver, where with auto solos and targets, you're just looking at that one competitive section where you are trying to complete the course, whatever it is, as fast as possible. You have timed non-competitive sections, so it's really a multitasking activity for the co-driver, because what you're doing is you've just finished a stage, you're giving your time card to the marshal, they're giving you your time, you're taking your helmet off, all that time you're working out the time that you're due at the next stage. You have to navigate your driver to the next stage and then be ready to go full pelt again on the stages. So it's a really, this is another team discipline.
Yeah. And then going back to costs, you start with 12 cars, about 20 quid. You go to production car trials, 40s, auto solo, 40, 60, Tiger rallies, 70 quid, Preston Rally, nearly 200, this 700 plus, entry fee only. So it does start getting a bit more expensive. Circuit-based stage rally, which we tend to do more of as opposed to closed roads. The costs are a bit lower. Entry fees are what, £350? £300 to £400, which is okay-ish. But then the car itself is the same thing as closed roads. The same requirements are there. You have to have all the safety equipment plus a passport. So Motorsport UK requires you to get the car checked by a approved scrutineer to make sure that the car passes, and then you are given a passport for that vehicle, which you, you have to comply with. So this is Snetterton footage from maybe
This year?
This year?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. So circuit-based stage rally is a bit kinder on the car, a bit easier for the navigator and driver. Absolutely brilliant, good way to start stage rallying. You do about 50 miles, Brian?
Even 45, 50 miles.
45, 50 competitive miles. And you see all sorts of cars turning up. Good example is Laura in the classic Mini, and they are fast.
We're not competitive with the R5s at the top, but we are when they get it wrong. So again, just like an Auto Solo and a Targa, it's about finishing the day. And you know, you see lots of cars retire at these kind of events because either they've not prepared the car properly, or they're not following the route, or they're going a bit too mad behind the wheel. So if you are clean and you stick to the route and you work well as a team, you can be really successful and just work your way up throughout the day. Often start at the bottom in my Mini, but can climb up the ranks just by keeping it clean and tidy and working as a team.
Now, there are some cheaper entry routes into special stage rallying. So there's something new called the Mini Challenge, which is a new championship, and that you can buy the rally car for around £7,000–8,000, and it's a full championship with cars of the exact same spec, so you haven't necessarily got that issue. Also, there's a junior championship from age, Tommy, what is it, 12, 14? 14. You can compete in special stage rallying in a Micra. I think they're only 1 litre, they're fairly standard, they've still got things that you need in them to be able to do a stage rally, but you can pick up a stage rally car for probably a few £1,000s if you want to get involved. And it's also a good time that we mentioned that you don't have to compete in order to take part in special stage rallying. So marshalling is key in motorsport. It's a great way that you can get involved and be as close to the action, if not closer, than the competitors themselves.